Hi, welcome to another episode of Sharing Faiths. We have a very special guest with us today, Kim Esselaar. She's going to be talking to us today about Judaism. So get ready, buckle up. We're going to hear some tips and tricks about the religion, as well as some special tips about food. So I really hope you're hungry. I know I am. So Kim, over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate you inviting me today so I can answer a couple questions. I am a CSP, community service provider, here in Belgium at SHAPE, and I am a practicing Jew. I was born into the religion, and I've done a lot of investigations, and I'm very interested in sharing what I've learned in my short time on this world.
Wonderful. So as we mentioned, we're going to be talking about Judaism today. So can you tell me about some of the special traditions associated with Judaism?
Well, there's really three principal beliefs of this faith. Definitely the belief in one God is the most dominating belief that we have, but also that God wants his or her people to do what is just and compassionate, so to be a good person in the world. Also, identity is a big principal belief. People are made in the image of God, and that's why we need to treat people with dignity and respect. Also, there is a covenant, which is an agreement between God and his people. So those are the three principal beliefs.
Wonderful. So speaking of people, are there specific people or deities that are important to the Jewish faith?
Abraham is actually the ancestor of the Jewish people. He is the first recorded person who's a Jew. Abraham had a son named Isaac, and that's who God made the covenant with him, Isaac, and Isaac's son, Jacob. And Jacob was given another name, Israel. And that's where the name comes from. Jacob's descendants got the name the children of Israel, or Israelites. So that's where the names come from. And then finally, Moses. Everybody knows about Moses. God gave him the Torah, and the Torah tells the people how to live and how to build their community. So those are really the most important people in history.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that, Kim. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the misconceptions about Judaism?
So this one might be a little bit more long-winded, because I'm sure everybody's heard a lot of misconceptions about this faith, and every year I learn new misconceptions and new answers. So the first one is that Jews are wealthy, stingy, and greedy. So it's really funny that that's a misconception, because in the Jewish tradition, giving money to the poor is called a tzedakah, and it's considered an act of justice, and it's actually required. It's like a law in Judaism that you should give money. So saying that we're stingy and greedy is not part of that. But this myth came about in medieval times. There was a law that Jews could not own land. They couldn't work in the craft sector. They were discriminatory laws. So the Jews had to find other ways to work, and they became merchants, money lenders, and tax collectors. So that's really where it came from. Also, another misconception, which is huge, is that religious couples are not allowed to use birth control. And that's why they have lots and lots of children. It's actually a misconception, because in the commandment, it says, in the Torah, it says, be fruitful and multiply. But you can fulfill this sort of law or guidance by having two children, one boy and one girl. So you can still use birth control. For the really Orthodox families, they do tend to have way more children. They take this to heart. But if there's a medical issue, you can use contraception. Or if you choose to just have two children, then that's fine. You can use birth control. And the third myth and conception I'm going to talk about is that a lot of people think you either have to be Jewish, like all or nothing, like you got to go in all or nothing. But in the Jewish faith, we see it as a process, a journey. Every step of the way, you become a better Jew by learning more about yourself and how to give back to the world. So it's not an all or nothing, and you keep learning and editing your beliefs.
Wonderful. What a great answer. Thank you, Kim. So how is this faith celebrated? Are there special days to respect?
There are lots of special days, and they really go around food. We love our food. So the most important one is Shabbat, or the Sabbath. Every Friday night from sunset, it's usually the first 2 stars in the sky that you see. You start until Saturday at sunset as well. The really Orthodox people, they don't do any work, don't turn on lights, don't cook. You know, they spend time with family. For me, I'm not an Orthodox Jew. I'll discuss a little later what I am, but for Shabbat, it's really a time on Friday night to have a meal, get together with your family, and see how your week went. So that's Shabbat. Rosh Hashanah is the next one. That's a Jewish New Year. We celebrate the harvest for 10 days. And during that time, we're celebrating all this fruitful food and what have you. It also gives us time to ask our friends and family for forgiveness for anything that we did wrong, which can be a long list or a short one, depending on who you are. After these 10 days, you have the most holy day in the religion called Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. That's your one day to ask God for forgiveness and to put you in the good book. It's pretty much how you can get to heaven. You fast and pray and repent. You don't eat or drink anything. It really depends how religious you are, for about 26 hours. So it's from sunset to sunset with 2 stars in the sky. So it comes out to about 26 hours. And each person celebrates it or does it kind of differently. Family members that I have who are on medication, they don't fast. If your health is affected by it, you definitely don't fast. Or if you have to take medication, you have to take that medication. You can't not do it for one day. I find this day very internal. I spend a lot of time by myself thinking about my choices and like reevaluating my life. So I take a lot from it, but some people choose not to fast, and that's their choice. There's another one which is coming up on, I think it's November 28th this year. It's really early because it goes by the biblical or lunar calendar, the Jewish religious days. Hanukkah is the 8-day festival of lights. Everyone knows about lighting the 8 candles. It's the victory of the Maccabees and rededication of the temple in Jerusalem. Fun fact, I am a Maccabee descendant. So yay, my people. There's a misconception that in North America, a lot of kids get gifts because it's close to Christmas time. It is nowhere close to the miracle of Christmas. So it's a little tiny miracle, but because it happens at the same time, we sort of, in North America, have made Hanukkah more of a big deal. There's also Purim, which not a lot of people know about, and it's a carnival-like holiday, and you get dressed up. It's like our Halloween, and it's just about the defeat of a plot to destroy the Jews in Persia. So that's a fun thing where you get to dress up. The last really important holiday is Passover. A lot of people know this from the Old Testament. It's a week-long spring festival. It's called Pesach, or Passover, and it commemorates the deliverance of the Jewish people from bondage in ancient Egypt. Everyone knows with Moses parting the Red Sea, and you have your unleavened bread because you didn't have time to let it rise, etc. And there's lots of little holidays here and there that all deal with food.
Wow, I didn't know that about the bread. That's really quite interesting. So you've already broached the next topic. Let's talk about food. So what kind of traditional foods or meals are associated with Judaism?
Well, in Passover, you can't have anything that's leavened. So anything that has yeast in it where the bread is risen. And that's because when the Pharaoh of Egypt said, fine, I'll release you from slavery, the Jews knew that he's going to change his mind very quickly. So they didn't let their bread rise. So they just quickly put it in the fire so it would cook and took it with them. And so that's why we don't eat anything that's leavened. I really like Hanukkah, which is coming up, we're celebrating the miracle of light, which is oil. So all you eat is foods with oil, like sufganiyot, which are jelly-filled donuts. Love that. And anything that's fried or baked with oil, like potato latkes, potato pancakes. And every time, especially for Passover, when you have a food, it's got a meaning. For example, we have a hard-boiled egg and we eat it in salt water. The egg is a symbol of rebirth, and the salt water is a symbol of the tears from slavery. So there's a lot of meaning and stories to tell based on what we eat, the songs we sing, etc.
Wonderful. Do you have any other interesting facts you'd like to share with us today?
There's multiple different sects of the Jewish faith. Orthodox, everyone knows, I'm sure you've probably seen the Netflix TV series on Orthodox, and you get a window to that world. There's also conservative Judaism. I was raised that way, where the men and the women were separated in synagogue, but it wasn't nearly as religious as the Orthodox. You don't have to wear certain clothes. You could still touch someone of the opposite sex. There were more relaxed rules with it. Reform, a lot of people say they're the granola guitar playing people. You know, you don't have to have a lot of the religious background to be a Reformed Jew. And the new Jewish faith that I'm a part of is called humanistic Judaism. It's a fairly new one, but the main principle behind it is to make sure that you become a positive member of the world. So you add something positive to the world using your faith as your background.
What a powerful message. I truly enjoy that. Thank you, Kim. So what would be your take-home message today? If you could give us one or two take-home messages, what would they be?
I say learn as much as you can from all religions, not just one. Don't close yourself off to other religions just because you were raised in a different way. If you have children or family, try and instill that their purpose in life is to be a positive contributor in this world. As long as you're doing that, whatever religion brings to you and how you can offer this to the world, do that.
Yes, thank you, Kim. Where could we learn more about Judaism if we wanted to?
You can Google it. My favorite website is Chabad.org. It's CHABAD.org. The reason why I love they have videos for children and adults. I don't like to have, you know, when you research things in religion, they've got all these big words and you don't necessarily understand all the information that it's given to you. At Chabad.org, it's really coming to you at a really good language base. They've got lots of interactive videos and information, and it's a lot of fun in the Chabad.org website that I found most of my information.
Wonderful. Well, I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you again for meeting with me today. I definitely learned something new. I think everybody else did. And if I wasn't hungry at the beginning, I certainly am now. So thank you for your time, Kim. This was wonderful. And until next time.
Thank you so much.